Kyle, and we are the Founders Way podcast here to discuss business and everything entrepreneurship out there on Reddit. We're also concurrently on a live stream. Kyle, it's
Yes,
been a little while. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well. My name is Kyle. We are the Founders Way. This is season 1, episode 9. You like how I'm doing that? And we are live on YouTube, LinkedIn, Reddit, and we're here to talk about starting and running a business. That's what we do, right? That was the inspiration for this live cast. And I've been doing well. I've been churning and burning this week. I'll tell you what, man. There's a lot of people who are wanting to take this journey. So I'm helping them out. What's going on your end?
So we are an early stage fintech company that has been pounding the pavement looking for investment. We're kind of early in that journey, and we have been invited to a new in-person pitching competition next week, which is new for us. And we have to convert from an 8-minute pitch to a 3-minute pitch. So I've been practicing that this week. We pitched
Ooh,
at another 1 million cups this morning. Some
yeah.
very nice people at 1 million cups in South Carolina.
All
And
right.
we
Is that
had
the
some nice
3-minute
feedback.
pitch you're working on with them?
Yeah, so they're more open. I think they give you 6 minutes to pitch whatever you're interested to whatever business you want to pitch or what you would like to practice. But I explained to them that we were getting ready for this 3-minute pitch and that's what we were going to do. And we had some great feedback, some really kind people there, and some very thoughtful questions.
That's interesting. Maybe we should be talking about pitches today because, a couple of weeks ago, I got back from basically what I consider to be a pitch festival. I was on the other end of the table. We give them 10 minutes. Um,
What do they pitch in your environment? They're pitching their franchise to potential franchisees.
Yeah, so we call it a speed date, but it's really a pitch festival in a way where I sit in a room as a consultant, a franchise consultant, and one by one, from like 9 a.m. until 4 p.m., every 10 minutes, I get a different franchisor and a bell rings and time's up, man. You got to move on. And then the next one comes in and they tell us about their business. It's often, their franchise development leader or maybe their founder or CEO or somebody like that has a small group that sits at my table and tells me about that business. So yeah, it's really fun.
Now, you seem like you would be a good public speaker. Do you ever do the pitches, or have you done them in the past?
I have done several. Yeah. I've been
You've
judges
also
at
done
pitch
TED
festivals.
talks as well, so you're pretty.
I did a TED talk once. That was fun, but yeah, I've given pitches. We had to do that in grad school, and I've done that in the tech when I was back in tech, and also I've been judges, on the other side of the table for pitch festival for tech. And yeah, it's a lot of fun. I imagine that you're really neck deep in that right now.
We are, and we're reaching a good place now. It takes a lot of practice. I don't know if it's something that I was natural natural at. It's taken some work to get all the decks together and the presentation. But the more I do it, the more I like it, and it's very rewarding when you start to get good feedback and people that are interested.
I mean, getting it down to 3 minutes, that's got to be a real challenge.
3 minutes is tough, and when you're pitching for feedback, the thing is everyone wants to help, and so everyone's got feedback, and
Hmm.
it can get to a point where one of the tough things for me at the moment is that feedback can sometimes be contrary. You can have an investor, like someone who knows a space really well, and they're like, "Do it this way," and another
Hmm.
investor's like, "I hate that idea. Don't do that." And as the founder of your business, you've got to decide what direction you've got to go in, and it is not easy, man.
So I imagine you have to tailor it a little bit for your audience. What is the feedback that you get consistently in terms of like what do you leave in and what do you take out when you have to squeeze it down to 3 minutes?
3 minutes is hard. So some of the kind of constructive criticism today was like, I would have loved to have heard a story. Like tell me a story about one of your successes, because we kind of tell a story about the problem, and we could follow that with a story about like, hey, this is someone we worked with and made it better. It's really a phenomenal idea, but for us to do that in 3 minutes, I mean, there's just so much to talk about.
Yeah. I
So
mean,
I mean,
you really got to boil it down, right? You
you're
can't
trying to
ramble.
pitch your whole business. You're trying to raise 500,000 or $1 million of investment, and they don't. I think one of the misnomers, particularly around like Shark's Tank and Dragons Den, is that like you pitch and you win and like walk out with a check. And really, it's more like a resume, where the resume doesn't get you the job, the resume gets you the interview.
You know, the thing that I've taken away from pitch festivals is that the purpose of the pitch is to just generate enough interest where they're willing to dig into any detail at all in your business, right? And
And so in this
so,
case, it's called due diligence.
yep,
You want to move from the pitch into due diligence with an investor. And so you've got 3 minutes. It's really hard to fit it all in.
yep.
Um, so that's tough.
Yeah, it is tough. You know, when I'm on the other side doing pitches in the franchising world, I'm asking questions, the answers to which will hopefully inspire my clients to want to do the due diligence that usually takes a few months based on that 10-minute pitch. So, you know, it's a lot of questions like who's the ideal owner for this business? What problem are you trying to solve? What kind of support are you giving? You know, everything around franchising, right? Just the basic stuff. And based on that, you know, that lets me know. Ultimately, I'm the gatekeeper for which candidate looks at one of these businesses or not. So they're really trying to make sure that they're top of mind in my head when I'm back in my market doing these things. Yours is a little bit different. You know, you've got, it looks like a group of investors that have to go through a whole series of different business ideas. And, you know, I imagine there's got to be some sort of straw man of like, what are the things that you're delivering to them in that short time period? It really is going to be the hook.
Well, that in therein lies the other difference, is that so many people are pitching for investment at the moment. And so how do you competently pitch but also stand out from, when investors just heard 1,000 pitches and there's 100 people who want his or her money, and how do you then have a pitch that resonates with them and gets through that your idea, every CEO and founder thinks their idea is the best one.
Sure.
Like they all think, of course, we're going to succeed. So just telling people like, no, we really do have a great idea, isn't necessarily the message that's going to cut through all the smoke. So really resonating with people is hard, and that's why the storytelling is so important. But telling a good story in 3 minutes and telling them all about your business and your team is hard as well.
I think the team is the key.
Team's a big one. Yeah.
Yeah. Compelling business problem. How are you going to solve it? Who's on your team? And, you know, what's the end game look like?
What do you like in a pitch when you watch the franchisors pitch the franchisees? What kind of things do you like to see?
I like to see strong unit economics. So they've got a track record of success, or if they don't have that, the problem is compelling and they're gaining traction quickly. I like businesses that know exactly who they want to be as owners. Knowing like what do they need to be good at, what are they going to be doing every day, well, who should they should not be. That's really helpful. Um, you know, what I do not like to hear is like anybody could do this business. That's not helpful.
How come?
Um, it doesn't help me narrow it down. Like, because I can literally bring anybody to do is a particular business, but you know, they come in all shapes and sizes and stripes and mindsets. You know, the guy who's a hardware engineer is not going to approach a fundamentally similar business the same way that a guy that's in sales, right? I'd like to see a business says, "Hey, this is really good for people who are like ready meat eating outbound sales guys, right?" Or this is really good for a business for an owner that doesn't really want to go out and do cold calling or anything like that, but they can operationalize the sales and marketing piece of the business and do the back office stuff that they do well. The operations guy, you know, maybe he doesn't have that good of a bedside manner. There's still businesses that are out there for good for people like that.
Well, I think that's one of the tricky things about pitching is you think from a business standpoint that would be attractive to people, right? Like you're trying to be attractive to a lot of people, and you're kind of saying like, hey, our business is so great and so easy that anyone could do it.
Yeah.
But then for you as the audience, that's not necessarily the case.
No, it's not. And I think, you know, it smacks of desperation a little bit when somebody's a franchisor says anyone can do this business, and I'm like, really? I don't know about that. Let's get more specific. I think specific is terrific, and I know that in pitching, it's hard to get real specific when you only have a couple of minutes to squeeze in all the main points. That's why I think those straw mans are really good. That framework for what do you include and exclude when you're just trying to catch somebody's attention. Jake,
I would love to get a 60-second animation going. We considered that, and I'm considering. I connected with a guy who just does cartoons, and
mhm.
so I'm trying to consider the cartoon as a way. With the time and space that we have, 5 slides in 3 minutes. How do you tell more of a story? And I'm not great with PowerPoint. Like I
Mm.
can do a PowerPoint and have the circles, but if you really want people to look at a slide and say, I get it, by having a face and someone's unhappy because they tried to do something. So I think that can help us make a little bit more impact with the time that we have in telling a story. So we may experiment with that as well.
Yeah. You know what I like also, and maybe this is just me, but when I'm sitting at um, on the other side judging a pitch, um, I can't know everything, right? The audience can't know everything, so part of it is education. I think with the person who's developing the pitch is like, here's the compelling problem, but here's the market research behind the problem. Why is it a problem? Right? Just to say that it is a problem isn't enough, right? Um, but if you educate them a little bit on like the extent of this, the extent of the opportunity, because it seems like folks who want to do big investments in big businesses or businesses that can grow big want to see a problem that's pervasive and expensive and difficult, and you've got the magic solution to it.
And that's I think one of the similarities of our two spaces is there's got to be a problem. You've got to have a solution, and a solution that can kind of make sense to people.
Yeah, big business. I mean, any business, all it is, big picture is we're solving a problem in exchange for profit, right? It's the satisfaction of human desire in some way. Can't ever forget that.
So you said you've had a very busy week. What are some of the franchises that are popular at the moment? What's going big this week?
Well, it's a lot of my clients are really coming out of the woodwork. Um, I'm working with a lot of folks who are coming out of the military or recently got out of the military, and tried something and didn't like working for somebody else and want to do their own thing. Working with some folks that are coming out of tech, long-term tenure, and some folks that are um, coming out of real estate, and they're looking for a different path. And so everybody's got their background, right? And the things, the businesses that seem to be popular right now are home consumer service businesses where you're doing something for the home. It might be, anything from cleaning it to organizing the kitchen to renovating it, or pet businesses. People spend a lot of money on their pets.
Well, a lot of
Children's
people
education.
went out and got pets during coronavirus. So the
Yes,
number of people that have a
yes,
dog now as compared to 2-3 years ago has probably gone way up. So there's
yeah,
kind of
it
a
has.
growing market space there.
Yeah, the pandemic pet, right?
Pandemic
So
pet.
that's a thing. And I think that people are seeing from a consumer perspective that it's like normalized to spend a lot of money on your pet like you would a child almost. And so there's an opportunity there. I'm also seeing senior care and children's education tend to be durable.
Yeah.
Um, when you're thinking about what it is that we're doing, fitness is also durable. We're taking care of ourselves, our kids, our parents, our pets, our businesses, our house. We're just doing things that we're doing every day. It's nothing innovative, but it's got durable demand. And I think that's what's attracting people.
What kind of stuff goes on in the kind of elder care?
In-home, non-medical senior care, companion care, personal service, where people can age in place. It's almost always cheaper to do that than it is to go to an assisted living facility.
Yeah,
Um,
I know a few people that could benefit from something like that.
really?
Yeah, that's a great franchise niche. That's a great business niche, actually. I mean,
It
because
is a good business.
we have an aging population, and a lot of people can't afford to go to a full time support. there's, if you live in Florida, there's a lot of options around. Like, there's a lot of intermediate kind of living spaces, and they're
Yeah.
expensive.
Yeah.
But as you get around the greater country, there's fewer options. Not everyone wants to move to Florida and be away from their family
Yeah.
to get access to that. So,
Yeah. One of the most popular options is just to send somebody in the home that you're already in rather than moving to a different one.
yeah,
It's if from an economic standpoint, it makes a lot of sense, and that's why that's growing, and the demographics are behind it. We've got 9,000 people turning 65 every day for the next 18 years. This is not a fad. This is the boomers aging.
is that a real stat? Where did you get that from?
The, it, I,
Just from reading. Just kind of picked it up
don't put
along
me
the
on the
way.
spot like that. I don't know.
No, it's okay.
But I can follow it up
That was
somewhere.
that was a great
Not in the
stat.
time given today,
I
but
was like, I was so
I'm not
impressed.
BSing you, my friend.
No, but it's indicative of how life is changing and the market is changing at all times, right? It lives and breathes, and you have
Yeah,
to be ready to capitalize on that and be
yeah,
where people need you.
exactly. So, nobody's going to kick their parents to the curb, and there's a ton of them. Same thing with kids, right? Who's having kids right now? The second largest generation, millennials, right? They're school age kids now. And there's a lot of pressure to succeed. So anything you can do to get a leg up, anyone's got their head screwed on straight is going to chop wood and carry water to make sure their kids are going to succeed in life. You know, very few exceptions to that. So that's popular. Yeah. There's a lot of good businesses out there.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's kind of been the top of my mind is just helping these people. Everyone's got a different story, right? Every potential owner's got a different story, and it's about making sure that their story is heard, that I hear it well, um, that they're looking at businesses that are going to get them to where they need to be in their life, right? And that are going to resonate there with what their transferable skills they're bringing to the table, get them where they need to be. I mean, this is the reason why we get into business. Make that dream come true. I've been working with somebody today that I just presented businesses with for the first time. It's been 4 years. We've been talking for 4 years.
They've taken that long. So they knew they wanted to do a franchise, but they've been taking that long to find the right one or to get their funding together, or what
It's the
makes the
funding
process
piece,
take long?
right?
Yeah.
Sometimes it's a timing issue, and that's a problem, with people who can contemplate business ownership is that it looks expensive and it looks like it's hard work because it is. And this is a person that had bad credit and no cash. So it took 4 years and that person diligently worked on their credit. And then they raised cash. They just got a job and spent less than they earned. And it took 4 years to raise $50,000. And that's $50,000 and a 700 credit score will get you into business all day long.
Say that last piece again. What kind of credit score?
50 grand and a 700 credit score or better. That gets you into a business. You can do it with that. That's the minimum.
It's harder to come across that than you might think, though. I mean,
It
anyone with
is.
decent credit should be 700 and above, but there's a lot of people out there struggling to do that.
It's true. Yeah. But this was a great case study in here's somebody that had a 550 credit score and 5 grand to their name. And now they've got a 720 and 50 grand. How did they do it? Went and got a job and saved money. There's no way around that, right? Unless you chose your parents wisely and cash is just raining from, your parents' place on you. You just got to save money. So
You've been asked if you could say something funny.
say something funny.
Yeah.
Something funny.
I thought it was funny.
Joke's on you.
I don't know if Joe and Kai will find that funny, but we'll see. We'll find out.
Yeah, we'll see.
So what's going down for the week ahead? You're on the grind. You're helping people to connect with businesses to find the right franchise. You are guiding rudderless ships in the night and helping people with good credit to raise money and start businesses.
Yep. That's it all day long. And you are perfecting that pitch, making sure that every
We are
investor
working on
knows
perfecting
exactly
that
what
pitch,
you're doing.
man. We also are bringing on some new partners. We're excited to help people that sell medical or construction or any kind of equipment to sell it on a finance option. we are trying to perfect that story of how we're helping small businesses to get the capital they need and how hard it is for them just out in the regular world to do that. A world of paper applications and pens and social security numbers that bounce around the internet by email, and how we can improve that.
So I got some comments from Jerry. Good to see you out there. I'm glad you find it interesting. And Michael, you mean I'm assuming you're asking no MBA is that you don't need an MBA to run a business? The answer is no. No, it's not. It doesn't hurt. I've
Do you
got
think
one.
I was thinking about this earlier today. Do you have an MBA?
Yeah, an MBA in entrepreneurship, no less. So, Michael, you were asking, do you need an MBA? No, not necessarily, but it does help.
That
And
that's a great focus. I think a degree in entrepreneurship, whether it's an MBA or undergrad, is a phenomenal idea. Do you think an MBA, having taken one, is better for improving your career out in the corporate world or for improving your opportunity to be an entrepreneur?
it depends on what MBA program you're focused on. There's plenty of them out there that are just going to help you get into the corner office at a big company. And if that's your goal, go for it. But if you're running a business, you need to be focused really. There's a few really good entrepreneurship programs that are out there that are just block and tackle. How do you run this business? How do you do the pitches? How do you develop the opportunity? How do you get to launch, to growth, to harvesting the business, the whole life cycle? There are degree programs out there for that will make that journey a little bit easier. It's still going to be a lot of work. That's one thing that I learned in grad school is that if it looks like work and it tastes like work, it's probably work. So
Do you mean while you were still doing the degree or once you had one in place?
while I was doing the degree and afterward and before, I went into grad school after running a business for 6 years already, thinking that I was going to sort of retroactively learn all the mistakes that I had made. What a mess that was, but it was fun.
Did it though? I mean, did it help you streamline the business or increase revenues or
Absolutely.
yeah?
I sold the business, and that's when I went into franchising because I realized I had to be honest with myself about what I wanted with my life, and I think that is probably one of the fundamental things before you even start the journey is this really what you want? And what are you willing to give up? And what are you willing to not give up?
I think people
And
really romanticize business ownership. And it's great
yeah,
for some people. Some people just get into it and magically are great entrepreneurs. So those are the people that you hear about. You don't as often hear about the other 80% that fight tooth and nail or fail or run into problems.
yeah, it is an uphill battle. And I think that, it's called a hero's journey in a way. The Founders Way is a hero's journey because there's so many pitfalls. But we're here to make sure that people don't fall into them, right? That's why we do this episodic content. We're season 1, episode 9 right now. Can you believe that already?
Pretty good. So when you took your master's degree, do you remember anything that jumped out that you thought this is a mistake that I was making or something you learned that you thought I can immediately apply this to do a better job?
Oh, yeah. Actually, those pivotal moments is not technical at all. It was about one of my one of my professors challenged me to think about beginning with the end in mind. And to that extent, I was tasked with writing my own eulogy, and I had to describe who was reading it, what was being read, who was in the audience, when was this happening, right? Because that's
That's
it.
a that's a
After
pretty
that,
that's a
you're
pretty intense
done
exercise.
before I
You
get
wrote
chucked in the dirt,
you wrote
and
your
then
own eulogy?
work backward from that point in your life to where you are now, and what are you going to
Uh-huh.
do to get there? What are you going to do,
Th
right?
that
So,
was a business class, and they asked you to write your own eulogy?
yes, it's the life of
That's
meaning.
that's a fascinating
Yeah.
that's a fascinating
So
assignment.
I realized that, so I did that, and I realized that I need to seriously, like, reconsider my life choices.
I might need to do that. I might need to sit down with a pen and paper tonight and think a little bit about my eulogy and then how do I get from here to there? Because it's
That's
not just
right.
about business success, is it? It's about the things you want to accomplish and enjoy along the
Absolutely.
way.
and it was pretty detailed. I had to figure out, like, how much was I gonna be worth? Where did that money come from? How did it grow? How much time did I have to get there? Um, when you get specific about it, man, you can really guide your life if you realize that, hey, it's gonna end and you can have control over how it ends. Now, you know, I might get hit by a bus tomorrow. It's fine, but I'm gonna, be optimistic about it and hopefully live to a long life.
Hopefully help a few people along the way. Well, I know you help a lot of people.
Yeah, I try. I try. Um, so we're getting pretty close to the end here. Um, I think that we talked a little bit about pitches. We talked a little bit about the life of meaning and beginning with the end in mind. Anything else that you wanted to cover before we wrap it for today?
Nothing from my side, but I'm really fascinated by this eulogy thing. I'm going to give that a shot and see what I come up with, and maybe we could discuss that next time. Now, next Wednesday, I'm going to be away, but are we going to try to catch up on Tuesday or Thursday?
Yeah, we could talk about that. Absolutely.
Guys, we are trying to tap into the spaces in Reddit where people like entrepreneurship, startup, and business, and we're on a journey to find them. Any
All
parting
right.
thoughts, Kyle?
Always good to see you. I really look forward to hearing how your pitch development progresses, and we look forward to more topics. Same time or similar time next week and
Next
further
week,
weeks.
one afternoon, and then we'll return to Wednesdays. All right, I'm going to stop streaming. Thank you for everyone who visited along the way.
Thanks, everyone.